Yes, you guys, what you all telling me? I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Nines TV, and welcome to my Premier League predictions for the upcoming 1920 season. Now, I'm going to break down every single team in the league, ranking where I think they are going to finish this season. However, before I get into that, today's video is brought to you by the One Football app, and I really mean this when I say it. The One Football app is super convenient. It's a great companion app to have because whenever you need quick information, the One Football app is the go-to place for that. If you guys want this, you'll find it in the link in the description below. And one more thing, you guys, if you do like today's video, don't forget to smash that like button. Help me get more than 2,000 likes for today's video. Yeah, I need to be a bit more ambitious with my likes. Now, getting straight into things, starting with the first team, none other than Brighton. And for me, I see this team finishing 19th in the league. Now, I say this because last season, they lost more than 20 games during the league season, and whenever teams are consistently losing that many games, you know they've got no chance whatsoever. Now with Brighton, they're a team that can't really defend, they don't get goals, and there's really no point to them. Yeah, Brighton's a nice town, it's nice to go to, but other than that, Brighton don't have too much happening for them right now. As I've said, they're placed in the relegation zone, and I think they're going to be 19th this season. Now, moving on to Leicester City, and Leicester City are my second favourite team in the league. With Leicester, I love the project they have right now. I like that they're going for younger players that have the potential to have a high resale value in the not too distant future. And you analyse the team. They've got two of the best fullbacks in the league in Pereira and in Chilwell. They've got a great midfield, and Ndidi's only going to get better. How can we forget a man like Maddison himself, with Vardy up front too, who constantly gets at least 15 goals minimum in the season. I think Leicester are going to have a great year. Now, yeah, I know that they've sold Harry Maguire, but that doesn't really mean anything for me. I think that Leicester do have some great young defenders in their ranks right now, so they'll naturally replace Harry Maguire. I see Leicester getting a 7th place finish come the end of the season. With Norwich, I see them getting relegated, and I think that they're going to come bottom once the season ends. They haven't really inspired me with their transfer window. Their team is okay, but they haven't upgraded any positions. I don't really see them doing too well. Yeah, they've got some good young English players. You know, seeing Max Aarons in the league might be interesting, but other than that, I don't really see Norwich doing too much this season. They are going to be 20th for me. Moving on to the next team, none other than Sheffield United, managed by Chris Wilder, a fantastic, innovative English manager, and it's not very often that you're putting those two words together. However, at Sheffield United last season, he used a very innovative system where he was using a back three where the wide defenders were tasked with making runs out wide to help overload the flanks. I'm interested to see what he's going to do in the league. You can tell with a manager like Chris, he's really going to relish the opportunity to come up against some fantastic managers in this league. The window has been decent. They've signed Mousse and they've signed Burnley from Swansea, so those guys, hopefully they'll get the goals. But I think that with Chris Wilder in charge, I see them getting a 17th place finish, and I think that they won't get relegated for this season. Now, moving on to London rivals West Ham. West Ham have been decent. Haller and Fornals, two top signings. Can't deny that. And my thing with West Ham's always been that they don't really play as a team. Now, they've had great players like Arnautovic and Payet, but those guys always use the club as like a stepping stone. They didn't really play for the team. And I think that's always been West Ham's main issue. They don't have enough team players that are willing to do the hard work and the dirty work. Too often their pressing is never on point. And I do think that this season, now they've sold a few players and they've signed guys like Haller, who you know is going to run and press the back line like crazy. With someone as skillful as Fornals, West Ham might do something interesting this season. I've given West Ham a 10th place finish. Now moving on to Arsenal, and Arsenal have been doing bits so far this window. Ceballos, guys, incredibly skillful. To sign Nicolas Pepe as well, that's a big boss move. And it's kind of funny because we were all taking the piss out of Arsenal, assuming that they got no money, it's going to be a peak year for them. And to just bring out Pepe out the bag like that, it's crazy. But my thing with Arsenal is, with all the vast array of attacking talent they have, do they have the right defensive players to complement that? I don't think so. And I think one issue that Unai Emery may be facing throughout this season is striking the balance between attack and defence. Now, yeah, I know there's rumours that they have made a 60 million bid for Upamecano from RB Leipzig. However, nothing's concrete right now. And at the time of recording this video, I don't think that Arsenal have it in them to get a top 4 finish. I don't see it happening. I see Arsenal coming at 5th place. Bournemouth, aka Light Skin FC themselves, and they have increased the ranks when it comes to light skin players. Billing coming from Huddersfield, is interesting, and it's a signing that makes sense for Bournemouth. Kelly signing from Charlton as well. He's got a decent reputation for them. Interesting team, however, Bournemouth aren't the type of team that know how to upgrade and go to the new level. I see Bournemouth getting a 15th place finish in the league. Now, moving on to Burnley, and if you're a Burnley fan, you might want to just close this video right now. I don't think Burnley are going to survive another Premier League season. For the past few seasons now, their stats are getting worse. They're a team that don't know how to score, and that's what's always going to cost them. Now, yeah, they can defend, and they're still very difficult to play against, but they don't win games. This summer, they haven't signed anyone noteworthy, and I think it's going to be the end for them. So I've got them at 18th, and they're the 3 clubs that I see getting relegated for this season. Now, moving on to my club, the club I've supported since I was a kid, Chelsea FC, and I think that we're going to get a Champions League finish. I see it happening. I think with Lampard's arrival, plus the introduction of a system that seems to get the best out of the entire squad, with the ease in which we're creating opportunities as well, all Lampard has to do is get that defensive balance, and once guys like Kante return, it's going to be it. I think we're going to have a good season. We're going to surprise people. We're going to definitely take the Premier League by surprise. I see us getting a 3rd place finish come the end of the season. Now, moving on to Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace are a team that I do like. I like that they like to turn towards inner city youth. They look to find the next baller from ends, and hey, that's what I like. However, they're too reliant on Wilfried Zaha. They're not able to get goals, and in the Premier League, if you can't score, you're going to mess yourself up. Now, Zaha could stay, or he could leave by the time the window does end. If he stays, I expect Crystal Palace to survive relegation. I think they are going to get 16th place ahead of Sheffield United. Again, it relies heavily on Wilfried Zaha, but the guy is that good that he can single-handedly keep up Crystal Palace for another season. Now, moving on to Everton, and they've had a pretty interesting summer. They've sold young attacking talent like Lukman and Vlasic, and the Nigerian Onkyeru. I hope I haven't messed up his name. And it got me thinking, why would they sell some exciting attacking talent? Then it made me realise maybe Everton are looking to use a 2-striker system. It makes sense if you're signing Moises Kean. You already have Richarlison. The attacking wingers aren't that great, and it seems like Everton have sold all the wingers they have now to focus more on using a diamond midfield with 2 up front. I think that makes sense for them. Moises Kean and Richarlison up front together, young, fast, exciting. They can stretch the line, they got pace. That'll be fun to see. That'll be interesting. Signing Gomez is a big deal for them, and replacing Gay with Gammin from Mainz is a fantastic signing. So I really feel as if they're not going to be weakened. However, it's going to come down to how well Everton may adjust playing in a different system. I've got Everton placed in 9th position. And moving on to Everton's Merseyside rivals in Liverpool. And I think the thing that really surprised me this summer is that they haven't been able to strengthen their team. Now, yeah, they've made big efforts for guys like Pepe, for example. They weren't able to sign him in the end. I don't know, I feel as if Liverpool really wanted to compete with Man City, they needed to sign at least 2 more players to really take that team to another level. Last season was a great year for Liverpool. Worthy winners of the Champions League, they played some fantastic football, but they kind of overperformed. Now, of course, that comes down to great man management by Klopp that knows how to get the best out of a team to get them up and running. However, are Liverpool able to continue the methods of Klopp? And I say this because in football, systems tend to last between 3 to 4 seasons. After a while, it becomes too demanding, and the other reason is teams in the league know how to come up against you tactically. And this is why teams need to constantly evolve in hopes of winning things. And with Liverpool, of course, with guys like Fabinho basically being like a new signing, Keita returning as well, they're going to be two massive guys in midfield for them. Liverpool may have it in them. I've got Liverpool coming at second place again. Now, Man United themselves, they've spent big on guys like Wan-Bissaka, Daniel James, and recently Harry Maguire. But will those three players help them get a Champions League finish? It's not going to happen. I don't know. For me, it comes down to a personal preference. I've always felt that United make more sense as a team that have a diamond midfield playing with two strikers up front. Martial, Rashford and Sanchez are three players that suit playing centrally up front with someone else. They're not really wingers. This is why the quality coming from Manchester United out wide hasn't been too great. Rashford and Martial up front with Sanchez being backup. That becomes exciting because you're getting the best out of these guys. I don't see it happening. I know United are using a 4-2-3-1 in pre-season. They've had a pretty good pre-season so far. However, the quality in defense isn't good enough. Bissaka improves that. He definitely does. But the centre-backs and the midfield, I'm not too sure. I've got Manchester United at a 6th place finish. Moving on to Man City. They've signed Rodri and I knew this was going to happen, but the minute he signed for them, the press was just going to completely gas him. Now, if Man City did sign Jorginho last summer, I'm sure that people's opinions on Jorginho would be completely different because of the system he's playing in. So I see Rodri getting overrated in that sense, but when you break down Man City, they still are by far the best team in the country. When you consider guys like Bernardo Silva are only going to get better, Gabriel Jesus did well for Brazil. He's going to come back hungry for this season. And when you look at Man City, Pep, how he gets the best out of the team, how he adapts, I see these guys winning the league again. Now, Newcastle. It's so funny and it's a bit of a piss take. The minute Benitez leaves, now they got money to spend. Now, yeah, I know they sold Jose Perez, so they've definitely reinvested that well. And they've done that by signing guys like Joelton and signing Maximin from Nice. Now, these two are technical players, but skillful players. And it tells you what Newcastle's transfer strategy is going to be. When you sign guys like Joelton and Saint Maximin, it means that you're serious. I've got Newcastle placed at 15th this season. Now, I've got Newcastle placed at 13th this season. I think they could do it. I think they'll have a pretty decent season. And moving on to the other club in North London, Tottenham Hotspur. Hey, I've got to be honest, every single season I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be the season Tottenham don't make it into the Champions League. It hasn't happened, and I don't see it happening until Poch leaves. Now, they've signed Ndombele. I don't know how they did it. I don't know why Ndombele went. Okay, I'm being rude. Spurs are a very good team with great individual players. They play fantastically well as a team. They did well to get to the Champions League final with guys like Son, Kane, Lucas. I'm interested to see how Lucas is going to do, especially as he ended the season very well for Tottenham. They're always going to be a dangerous team. And I've got Spurs coming at 4th place. Now, Southampton could be surprises this season. I've got them at 12th place. And with Southampton, you know, they've done well under Hasenhüttl, their new manager. I think that he's going to progress the team now. We need to remember that, you know, he only took them over halfway through the season. Now he has a full pre-season with the team, so they're able to become better accustomed to his tactical demands. They're going to be an interesting team. They've made some smart acquisition. Ings and Jay Adams, two good forwards with technique. They get goals. I think that they'll have a mediocre year, but I think if you're a Southampton fan, I think that's all you want. Now, to end with the final 3 teams, Aston Villa. And Aston Villa have spent a crazy amount of money this season. But have they spent money well? And this is where we have to be realistic. Now, when you're a newly promoted team, it's really hard to attract the right players to sign for you. And most of the times, that's because players don't want to sign for a club where they feel they're going to get relegated by the end of the season. Now, Aston Villa have made some very smart buys. I think Wesley It's the type of Benteke forward that will do well in the Premier League. They've got McGinn in midfield, and I think McGinn's another guy that I'm really looking forward to see what he does, because he's got a big reputation. He came to Aston Villa, helped their midfield a lot by improving it, and I think that he's one of those players that could be playing at a much higher level. So let's see what he does. But anyway, I've got Aston Villa placed at 14th, just behind Newcastle. Now, moving on to Wolves, and I've got to admit, I do like Wolves, and I always like teams that have a plan. They've got a fantastic strategy. They continue that this season by signing Cutrone for AC Milan, and for me, I don't understand why Italian clubs just don't like young players. It makes no sense to me, especially at AC Milan, where they go through this cycle time and time again. However, that's only going to benefit Wolves, and Cutrone and Jimenez up front, it's kind of sexy, you guys. They've signed 2 other exciting Portuguese youngsters for the future, and again, I like the plan. Wolves are basically like Portugal FC, or if I wanted to be super cynical, I would call them Jorge Mendes FC. Still though, I think they are going to have a good season, and I've got Wolves placed at 8th come the end of the season. And to end with the final team in Watford. Now this season Watford haven't gone too crazy in the transfer window. Most times over the past few seasons they've signed tons and tons of players to the detriment of the team. Since then though, Watford have balance right now, and I think that they have some exciting players. I mean, Decore and Deulofeu, 2 top 10 players, and with Deulofeu and how he ended last season playing in a more central role, I think that he has the potential to be one of the most... I think that Deulofeu has potential to be one of the standout players for this season. It'll be interesting to see. Anyway, I've got Watford placed at 11th for this season. I think he'll have a good year, but I see clubs like Wolves, Everton and West Ham just being better. And on that note, you guys, I'm going to keep things moving. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. In the comments below, tell me who you think is going to be in the top 4 for this season. I'm curious. And if you want to let me know where you rank teams, make sure you do that in the comments below. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lines TV. See you guys later.